What's going on, guys? This is Chandler Smith, and I am so pumped about this video because I just finished due diligence on my 15 Plex. And so in this video, I'm gonna share with you all of the crazy stuff we found through the inspection, how we negotiated after the inspection, and now how incredible the numbers are on this 15 Plex, now going into the final week where we are just about to close. So with all of that being said, let's jump into it. All right, guys, if you're new to the channel, my name's Chandler Smith, and I've been investing in real estate for the last 7 years. I currently own 99 units of rental real estate, and this 15 Plex purchase is going to put me at 114 units. Now, in this video, I'm gonna try and show you everything. I'm gonna try and give you a super transparent look of start to finish on this property. That means I'm gonna show you what we got it under contract for. I'm gonna show you all of the major issues we ran into in inspection. I'm gonna show you how we negotiated through those issues, and I'm gonna show you what the numbers look like now and the return we're planning on getting on this property once we get the rents bumped. The only thing that I ask you to do is make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the little bell. And if you love this video, if you love breaking everything down, I have a much longer breakdown that goes into the nitty-gritty details of this deal in my real estate investing course. Now, in this real estate investing course, I'm gonna show you everything you need to go from no properties to over 100 doors of rental real estate, and I'm gonna show you multiple case studies. And this specific project, I'm gonna show you all of the nitty-gritty details, all of the numbers, all of the financing, everything in a much more long form video. So if that's something that interests you, right now you can click the link below and get $50 off on that real estate investing course. So with all of that being said, now we're gonna jump into a very detailed look of what we ran into in the inspection, the due diligence, and now what the numbers look like. Just so you get an understanding of how this worked, I did the inspection almost a month ago on this property. I went through with my man Dan, and he is one of the best inspectors ever, and we literally went through every single unit. And this is something that you need to know as a new investor, especially in these bigger properties, is you want to get inside every single unit, and you want to get inside every unit with your inspector, and I prefer to bring someone else to get even an extra pair of eyes on it. So I also brought Jace, who manages all of my properties. Now, we went through unit by unit, and just to be transparent with you, overall, this 15 Plex was absurdly clean. Like, it was in really, really good shape. And one of the units where the old property manager lived was actually like extremely nice. He had put in tile floors, he had heated floors, he'd put in all kinds of new countertops and backsplash, he'd put in a jetted tub. So one of these units where the old manager was living was like really nice. So that was the one we went through with Dan, and you can see some of the footage here of what that unit looked like. But overall, the inspection came back extremely clean. However, when you do an inspection, the reason you want to do this is you want to make sure you're not putting off any deferred maintenance that needs to be taken care of immediately. You want to make sure that these units are nice. You want to look for things that you can increase value in or make better so that you can raise rents. And you want to make sure that you find everything you can because you have a chance to renegotiate with the seller. Now, the way that this works is you're going to come to the seller and say, this is everything that we found. This is what I need you to do. And you can ask them to fix it, or you can ask them to give you money at closing. And I am always someone that wants to ask for money at closing because then if those fixes aren't urgent, I can do them on my time, but I need a lot less money at closing. And so this is how I always do it when it comes to the renegotiation. I go in and say, this is what I found, this is what I had it bid out price-wise, and I would prefer for you to just do cash. However, if you want to fix all of these things, you can do that too. However, this is the price that I have pegged after getting bids on what I think it's going to cost to fix things. And so if you can pay this amount, you don't have to do anything. Just give me that back at closing and we're good to go. Now, here is one trick that I use. When I do this, I want to be super nitpicky and find everything I can because the worst thing that's going to happen is for the seller to say no. So here are the things that I found. When we went through, we found that there were 26 different windows. They had moisture in between the windows, which means that the seal is broken. Now, this is something over the years that I've been able to get a lot of money back at closing. And the reality is this doesn't really affect keeping in the warmth. It just affects the visibility out of the window, and a lot of times you'll even get moisture inside on the window pane or on the window bottom thing, the piece of wood under there. losing my brain today. You get moisture inside, but the reality is it isn't something that is really causing an issue. It's something that you could leave for years and years and years and be okay, but it is still a damaged window. However, it's not cracked. It's not something that's gonna cause major issues when it comes to keeping heat in. It just doesn't look pretty. And this is an example of one of the windows on this property that we picked out. And there were about 26 of these windows that looked like this. So I tied $5,000 to these windows, and that's what I asked for to get fixed. The next major issue was the parking lot. Now, a lot of the pavement or blacktop was completely wrecked. It was peeling up, it was ruined, and that's actually a very expensive fix. So after getting it bid out, I found that redoing all of the blacktop was going to be $13,000. Now, this isn't something you have to do right now, but the sooner you do it, the less it's going to cost, and that's gonna keep it from getting way worse and being substantially more expensive. The other thing with blacktop is if it gets so bad because of putting multiple layers, eventually you have to tear everything up, and that makes it way more expensive. So this is something I wanted to get on top of. So I tied that to a $13,000 expense because that's what we bid it out at. The next major issue was the roof. Now, on one side of the roof, it was pretty damaged. Not something that couldn't be milked for another 3 to 5 years. However, it was something that I personally would want to replace in the next 3 to 5 years. So I got the entire roof bid out and I put that into the price and I said, look, this is what it's going to cost to replace all 3 roofs. Now, this is always a ballpark estimate because yeah, the roof still has some life to it. However, it's also something that's gonna be a major expense for me in the very near future. So I put that on the list and I ended up bidding it out at $8,400 for one, $4,200 for one, and $10,200 for the other. Now, with my bid on one of the roofs, I wasn't going to completely replace it, but I was gonna do a lot of stuff to get it fixed up. And that's how I got the bid in. And that's something that if I would have gotten it paid for, I would have been happy. Now, when I brought this forward, I thought that this was reasonable. Now, some people might think it's over the top. I thought it was reasonable, but you're gonna be very interested to see how the seller felt about it. And so right now I have to do a pitch for this seller. This seller has been incredible. Very easy to work with, very kind, and very understanding of these fixes I wanted. So keep that in mind that it's always worth asking, especially when you're dealing with a seller. And you shouldn't feel bad about that, especially if you built that relationship, because the worst thing that can happen is they're going to say no. So that's what I asked for on the roofs. And then finally there was one unit, and this was the one part that I know would scare away a lot of people. So I'm gonna show you a couple of the videos. We had this one unit that had a major flood upstairs. And so here's a picture of that. They had also ran into the wall in the kitchen in their garage with their car. So it was all banged and bent in. We're gonna have to replace not only the sheetrock, but a lot of the studs as well, and potentially some electrical. I don't know, we didn't really see like electrical issues when it came to the lighting, but there was electrical back there where they had smashed it. And so we don't completely know what we're in for on that. Now, all of the flooring was trashed, all of the walls were trashed, and it did smell a little bit like a certain drug that's kind of illegal. Actually, it is illegal. So with that, it was very nasty, very trashed, and we said, look, for us to completely gut this place and get it back to working order, it's probably gonna be $12,500, and that is a very fair estimate. So in total, with everything that we asked for, that put us at $53,300 worth of stuff we were asking from the seller. And I line itemed all of these things with their bids, and then I gave the total and I said, hey, if you can give me all of this, then we will be good to go. After due diligence, when you put in this request, you ask for the amount, but they can say yes, they can say no, or they can counter with what they think is fair, and then that's the end. You don't really have a chance to recounter. You either accept it or you bail on the deal. And so it's kind of sketchy because you're asking for a lot, but you're in a safe place. They're the one that is kind of in a sketchy place, because if they say no, or they say this is all I'm allowed to do, and you walk, they're out of luck. So a lot of times when I suggest these are the things I want changed, the majority of the time I at least get half. And I'll be honest, with this ask on these, if I would have gotten half, I would have been happy. My numbers worked. That gave me more than enough to get the major issues done, and then also put me in a place where I've got a little money set aside, but I know I've got some maintenance things with the roof, the parking lot, those other things like windows that I can push off, and I would live with the property and be totally happy with where the numbers were at. But the seller came back and said, Chandler, I've got a connection, so I'm gonna get the roofs replaced for you, which I was pumped on. This was incredible. I don't have to do the work. I don't have to get it scheduled. I don't have to go through any of those issues. I'm just getting the roof replaced. And on top of that, she came and said, I'll give you $26,000 back, which was almost everything that I had asked for. So I was pumped out of my mind. And so to the seller, if she ever does watch this, thank you so much. This has been an awesome situation, and I'm so excited for this 15 Plex. If she never does watch it, hey, that's okay, because I ended up with an awesome deal, and now you guys get to see how that all came to be. Now, the big thing you want to do when you ask for something like this is you want to be reasonable. You want to back it up. You want to get real bids. And if it's real issues, then it's reasonable to ask. What I see a lot of people do is they'll go in and they'll say, hey, I want $10,000. And the seller is like, well, screw you. What is a $10,000 even for? But if you go in, you take pictures, you get bids, you put that all together, you send that to the seller, and then you send in your offer saying, look, these are the things I need changed, or I need this amount back, it goes over so much better because you don't sound greedy. You don't sound like you're just pushing for money. You legitimately have an issue that you're asking for that then they have an opportunity to fix. So I was super pumped to be able to get all of this back, and it made my numbers absolutely incredible. And now I'm very excited to take ownership of this property, get the rents where I need them to be, and be in another awesome investment property. But I'm sure a lot of you are saying, well, Chandler, how did the numbers pan out? How good of a deal is this? What is your cash on cash return? And so because I want you to know, I'm gonna give you a very quick synopsis of how good the numbers turned out on this property. However, I'm not going to show you the whole spreadsheet. I'm not going to show you the taxes. I'm not going to show you the expenses. I'm just going to show you what return this will put me at. So if we open up the spreadsheet, I'm just going to show you what the cash on cash return and the cap rate and the cash flow on this property look like. However, if you want to go in and run nitty gritty numbers on properties to make sure they're good to go, you can go to my website at www.chandlerdavidsmith.com and you can download this spreadsheet completely free. Or you can just go to the App Store and search CDS Rental Calculator and download that. And again, that's going to help you run all of the numbers on investment properties to see if the cash on cash return is where you need to be. But the one thing you need to know with this deal, I ended up with way better financing than I ever expected. So I got no closing costs on this deal. I got a 3.7 interest rate fixed for 10 years on a 25-year AM, which is absolutely absurd. If you want to see how I pulled that off, you can go watch this video right here and I show you how I negotiated everything. But with those interest rates and getting rents up to where I think I can get them on this property, that should put me at a 16.32% cash on cash return, which means I'll be able to cash flow $69,000 every single year on this property on top of appreciation, principal pay down, and everything else. Now, I've got a ton of work to do when it comes to raising rents, fixing up that one property, doing the little renovations in a couple of other properties. But if I'm able to get the rents up to where I think I will, and I usually am, that's going to make this a total cash cow. Now, if you're saying, Chandler, that deal sounds absolutely absurd. How did you find it? How did you get this put together? How are you going to increase rents? How do you do all of this stuff? Again, you can go and purchase my real estate investing course. You can get $50 off and it will show you how to do everything. If you're a cheap wad and you don't want to do that, that's okay. I still love you, and I'm going to continue to put videos on the YouTube channel that help you understand how all of this works like I always have. However, YouTube does not reward putting things in order and making it work that way, and so you've got to bounce around from a lot of my videos, and that still probably won't give you quite everything you need to scale from no properties to over 100. So go get the course and use the code below and you can get $50 off. Now, if you guys enjoyed the video, please push the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the little bell, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the future videos where I'll continue to share breakdowns like this. I'll show you how to invest in real estate. I'll show you all of the benefits that come from investing in real estate, and most importantly, I'll show you everything you need to know to build a huge passive income. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day.